I'm coming to Congress and I'm going to be the greatest stock trader this place has ever seen. Because a lot of people made a lot of money this week. And in the name of diversity, equity, and inclusion, I'll be sharing the hottest trades only on my X account. Get your portfolios ready because we're going to the moon.
That's Valentina Gomez. She's running for office. Look what she's saying. Nancy Pelosi made $4.7 million in the stock market today. That's 26 times her yearly salary. These politicians will never ban stock trading. So when you vote for me into Congress, we will beat them in their own game. I will post every trade on X platform. This is her name right here. If you want to follow her, I highly recommend you do. This is an investment opportunity I think a lot of people can't pass up on.
Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? Yes, that's right. That woman is running for Congress. If you vote her in, well, you don't have to just vote her in. You can go to her platform right now. They're going to be keeping track of all the stock trades that these politicians are doing on stock platforms and making millions of dollars from insider trading. She's going to be posting their stock purchases. And there's another group of people out there that are doing that as well. And right now they're seeing a 33% growth in their stock trades because they're just following what politicians are doing. So don't get left behind. If you want an opportunity to make some money, I highly recommend you look at their stock trades and see what's going on. I'll look into what it is they're doing and then come back to you guys and let you know what I find out. Before we get started, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. Now, I spoke about this before. You want to pay attention to the gold to silver ratio, because it is an opportunity for you to make money. Right now, it takes 99 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold. So how do you make money off this? Well, this is what I did. I was telling people when we saw a ratio of 127 ounces for 1 ounce of gold, I thought that was ridiculous. So I took 10 of my gold ounces, I traded it straight across for the silver, got me 1,200 and some odd ounces of silver, and when the ratio closed, it got down around 66, I think it was, I went ahead and traded those silver back in for gold, and I ended up with 18 ounces of gold. So I turned my 10 ounces of gold into 18 ounces of gold just by trading back and forth between silver and gold. All you want to do is watch the ratio. This is too high. It should not be this high. Historically, it's a lot closer than this, but lately it's been around, average for the last few years. It's been around somewhere between 55 and 65, somewhere bouncing around in there. But with the ratio up this high, this is an opportunity for you to make money, turn your gold into silver, and when the ratio drops down to somewhere around 60, 65 ounces per silver for 1 ounce of gold, then trade it back and get your gold. I had people hitting me up about inflation. I said, what about it? It's down. Trump told you he was going to bring it down. I know the media is lying to you and they're telling you that inflation is going up. And Trump nailed them and said, you guys are lying. Stop lying about this, because that's not the truth. You can clearly see that inflation is going down just like Trump said it was. Gas prices, they started to go up. And then what happened? Oh, we've seen a huge drop. As a matter of fact, it was down here around $1.96 per gallon. And then it started to go back up again once the trade wars happened. And so I anticipated going back down. But even so, this is much lower than where it is that Biden had you guys at. In California, sorry, we're not seeing any kind of real change. We see gas prices. You guys are going to get blown away by this. All bullshit aside, we see gas prices between $6 and $7 per gallon. It's like in the Bay Area in California or in LA. That's how high the gas prices are. But around the rest of the country, somewhere around $2.15 to $2.30. That's a huge difference in price. Here's Andy Shipman that's listening to what he has to say about what's going on with gold and silver. Very interesting news for you guys to check out.
You see the LBMA saying the Bank of England, yeah, we got to go to 8 weeks instead of 1 day. Sorry, we don't have enough trucks or manpower. Something is going on with gold and silver. Again, the price is the greatest tool of misdirection, and it's a high stakes game. You have the biggest banks in the world. It's an existential threat to their survival. To me, the term asymmetrical comes to mind when I think of silver, the lowest downside with the best upside. But you better have strong fingertips and better be able to tune out the noise, because the noise will drive you insane. And the long-term technical fundamentals look extraordinary. This, huge cup and handle, and it's just about to break through a declining wedge. A very bullish technical factor.
Silver is once again under the spotlight as prices near $33 per ounce. climbing steadily but still lagging behind the 2011 highs. Silver's unique dual role makes this rally different, serving both as a precious monetary metal and a critical industrial component. Industrial demand is surging with global shifts towards renewable energy, electric vehicles, and advanced electronics. The Silver Institute forecasts that solar panel production alone will consume around 180 million ounces of silver by 2025, representing nearly 15% of the annual mine supply. This relentless demand growth underscores silver's fundamental strength, yet its market price remains curiously muted, sparking questions about underlying dynamics. Andy Schekman, CEO of Miles Franklin, highlights a key reason for this disconnect: the long-standing practice of price suppression through paper trading. For years, powerful financial institutions have leveraged futures contracts and derivatives to exert disproportionate influence over silver prices, deliberately capping upward movements. This artificial control allows them to accumulate large amounts of physical silver at discounted rates quietly. Recent market data reveals that physical silver deliveries are hitting record highs, with over 13,500 contracts delivered in May 2025, marking an unprecedented surge in physical offtake. Yet, despite these bullish fundamentals, Andy sees that the spot price has barely responded, clearly reflecting the dominance of paper markets over genuine supply-demand dynamics. This imbalance between paper silver pricing and physical market realities is growing increasingly unsustainable. As industrial consumption accelerates and physical inventories tighten, the manipulation mechanisms face immense strain. Historically, such suppressions have a breaking point. When delivery obligations can no longer be met without hefty premiums, markets are forced to reassess true value. This looming supply crunch, coupled with relentless physical demand, could trigger a violent repricing of silver. The situation is reminiscent of previous turning points when visible shortages forced a sudden and sharp market awakening, rewarding those who positioned themselves early while others were left scrambling.
Certainly India is continuing to accumulate gold, and maybe it's just too new and hasn't really broken out into something more than some skirmishes. Maybe if it were to become evident that this is getting very scary, it would, and it should. I mean, look, in the West, the market is too reactionary. You could argue that the folks in India and in China and that part of the world have been accumulating so much gold and silver for so long that it has less of an effect over there than it normally would. It should manifest itself here. And what do we see instead? We see people moving away from the risk-off trade into the risk-on trade. And it just goes to show that the masses are typically always in the wrong place at the wrong time. And that's why guys like Rick Rule, who have made a fortune, have done so as being a contrarian. And he's famous for saying, if you're not a contrarian, you'll be a victim. Well, right now, that is kind of what the world is saying. And I wouldn't look to the gold price, which has been for a very long time managed for several reasons, although I would argue that they've lost the ability to manage gold. Not yet silver. I would argue that China is controlling gold more than the West is ultimately. And so, rising gold is something that doesn't benefit any of these players really rising gold yet until the final resolution or the final understanding that if you don't get whatever isn't nailed down, it's too late. Well, we're not there yet. But I wouldn't look to that. I think that's maybe slightly misleading, and maybe it's not as severe as we are being led to believe, since there is a pause. Cooler heads are prevailing. Let's hope. But everything that I've ever noticed about war, Guy, is that we would think the price should be going higher, and the players that like to manage its price, well, they will delink that rationale. They will delink the people's belief that when things get scary, you should run to gold, and they do it by shorting the paper price. And it kind of, don't look here, just keep on walking. And I would argue China's involved in that too. They want to continue to accumulate as much gold as possible. So by shorting the price during these conflicts, or not allowing it to run quite the way that it should as a result of it, makes people think, maybe I should buy Bitcoin instead, or buy something else. At the same time, they're doubling down their own accumulation efforts off of a lower price. So that's been kind of part of the playbook for a very long time, and ultimately will accentuate itself. But the immediacy. And that's just it. People in this country are always looking for a reason. Well, the market went down because, for this reason. Oh, well, that's great. Now I feel better. There's a lot more to all of this than just something like a skirmish between two angry nuclear powers. That's bad enough as it is, but maybe if it broke into something far more frightening, we would see gold finally start to move as a result of that.
Over recent years, a noticeable shift has occurred in the silver market, with banks quietly offloading substantial quantities of the precious metal to non-bank entities. This strategic move suggests that banks may be increasingly cautious about silver's long-term value or role in the evolving global financial system. The decision to offload millions of ounces of silver could signal a retreat from the market by major financial institutions, potentially driven by concerns over its increasing demand and future price trajectory. According to Andy Schekman, this move by banks raises questions about the stability and future of silver, as it highlights a significant departure from traditional market behaviors. These sales have taken place without much public awareness, which points to a shift in how silver is treated as an asset, moving away from speculative trading and towards more tangible forms of investment. At the same time, countries like China and Russia have been actively securing physical silver, bypassing traditional market structures and seeking to strengthen their reserves. Their aggressive purchasing strategies reflect a broader trend of nations recognizing the value of silver as a strategic asset. These nations bypass conventional financial exchanges and move directly to the source, buying up large amounts of silver in its raw form. This shift underscores the growing importance of physical possession in today's market as countries seek to safeguard their financial future amid global uncertainties. By prioritizing physical silver, China and Russia are signaling that they are positioning themselves for a new phase in the global economic landscape, where silver plays a crucial role in securing economic and geopolitical power.
Silver is still controlled, no question about it. But when you talk about, in terms of the amount of silver that's being accumulated here in the United States, since Easter, at least almost, and I haven't updated it since last week, but since Easter, about 12,000 silver contracts have been delivered. That's almost 2,000 tons of silver. That's not a small amount, and it's not, that's something that should be understood and not glossed over, because the price has not done what it's supposed to do. And I think, people get so tired of hearing that, because it's been that way for quite some time. They perhaps are becoming disenchanted, but yet there's money here in the United States at a higher level that understands what's happening, that is standing for delivery in quantities that we've never ever seen before. I think that, to me, is one of the biggest things that I would focus on. And in so far on the May contract in silver, which is an active delivery month, there has been, let's see here, it's record pace. So far, as of Friday of last week, 13,581 contracts have been delivered. That's an all-time high.
This is what I talk about when I'm telling you, you see cryptocurrencies, when they start to take off, they're being used as a distraction to suppress the gold and silver prices. All of a sudden, you'll see cryptocurrencies start to take off, and it looks like gold and silver are either stabilizing or they're starting to lower a little bit. People panic and they sell their gold and silver, run over to cryptocurrencies, which is a fake money, by the way. It's fiat currency. There's nothing supporting it. I know you guys are being lied to, and you're told that XRP and all of them are being backed by gold and silver. It's all a lie. Go out there and do your own research. For some of you guys like to use that AI, put on there, is XRP or any of these cryptocurrencies being backed by gold and silver? It's not. They just lie to you. Buy gold and silver. Hold on to it. Who cares what the price is? Remember, you're building wealth for your family, so you don't need to watch the price every day. It's a great investment. It's great protection for you and your family to keep you out of the system. And hopefully your family is able to add to it to help secure your wealth. That's what gold and silver are for, to secure your wealth. Anyways, I look forward to hearing what you have to say. That's it for now. I'm out.